Okay. Hello, a good day to you all. I welcome you to our 10th virtual leadership seminar of Youth Impact Parliament in collaboration with Sisterhood Organization. Let's start with a word of prayer. Let us pray. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon Youth Impact Parliament. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance, clarity, insight, and eloquence to our guest speaker and host, that they may deliver and make this virtual leadership seminar a memorable and resourceful one to our personal development and capacity building. We commit into your hands all participants that they may understand and adapt to all that will be taught today. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people, that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of this Parliament, Volta region, and Ghana. Amen.
Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I can see online Innocent Bomepo, Cletus Awiline, Steve, and then our guest speaker herself, a beautiful lady on our poster. We'll proceed to the next item on our agenda for today, which is welcome address by host. Madam Guest Speaker, honorable members and fellow participants, it is an honor for me to host this memorable event again as your Speaker of Parliament. This youth organization, that is Youth Impact Parliament, a subsidiary of Youth Impact Movement, is focused on impacting its members positively and significantly. This occasion assiduously promotes the vision of this Parliament. The topic for today's leadership seminar and 10th edition is Affirmative Action and Gender Mainstreaming as Strategies for Development. And this topic will be handled by our guest speaker, who is no other person than Miss Christabel Naa Tsotsoo Larmie. She is the Program Officer of Open Foundation West Africa, an advocate and a leader. I hereby, and on behalf of leadership of the House, humbly welcome you all, most especially our guest speaker, to our 10th virtual leadership seminar. Thank you and welcome once again. I'll move on to the fourth item on our agenda for today. The fourth item is introduction of guest speaker. Honorable members, Ms. Christabel Naa Tsotsoo Larmie is a Ghanaian by birth. She is passionate on advocating for issues on social justice. She currently serves as a program manager for Open Foundation West Africa, a non-governmental organization providing support to volunteers on how to edit and contribute to Wikipedia. I think they had a program just recently, or they are yet to have. She'll confirm that when she comes on floor. And promoting of open resources in areas like education and many more. She is also a volunteer in the area of communication with the African Women Forum in Ghana. She's a gender advocate group. She is part of the Affirmative Action Bill Coalition. She is also a graduate of the University of Ghana, where she studied sociology and English, that is Bachelor of Arts honors. While in school, she served as the Speaker of Parliament for the University of Ghana Parliament House, Accra City Campus. She was the Deputy Electoral Commissioner and Deputy Sponsorship Head of the SRC of UGACC. She's a graduate of Women and Politics training organized by FES. Abantu for Development, and Women in Broadcasting in 2020. She was awarded the Outstanding Female Leader of the Year at SHE Essence Awards. She had her secondary education at Wesley Grammar School, Dansuma. She is identified as an advocate, a Christian, a passionate leader. Honorable members, I humbly introduce to you Miss Christabel Naa Tsotsoo Larmie. Miss Christabel Naa Tsotsoo Larmie. The audience, ladies and gentlemen, I respectfully invite to the floor our guest speaker to take the floor and present to us on affirmative action and gender mainstream as strategies for development. That is our topic for today. Madam Guest Speaker, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Or should I say, Right Honorable Speaker? I want to use this opportunity to thank everyone, especially you, for this this platform. And as rightly said, yeah, even though the pronunciation of my name didn't go well, but it's normal because yeah, it's a now. It's Christabel Naa Tsotsoo Larmie. So for your for your audience to know. So yes, I'm an advocate. Yes, I am the programs officer for Open Foundation West Africa. And as your speaker rightly said, yeah, we launched a global campaign online. It's a wiki contest. And as he said, with our organization, we educate people on how to edit Wikipedia as well as do other things. And yeah, the theme for our launch, which was last week, was on projecting Africans' culture. So we are looking at making known to people what actually is in Africa, aside they knowing that Africa is full of trees and how should I call it, monkeys and islands. But there's more to Africa than what they perceive of us. So that was the aim of our launch, though basically it has to do with contributors giving us information with regards to our culture, our food, our marriage, our festivals, and all, so that people will know that Africa has a beautiful culture in it, aside people knowing us as one country, as they will say in their various worlds. So, yeah, today I'm going to touch on affirmative action and gender mainstreaming as strategies for development. I don't know what you have but in mind about what all these are about, but I just want you to sit back and watch me do my thing. I just hope you enjoyed this session as we go on. So for the sake of the recording session, I will open my video for a while for everyone to see me, then I close it so that I can be able to focus on my position. You know, I'm a lady. Before I get distracted with how I'm looking in the camera and all. So yeah, for some few minutes. Okay, so this is me, everyone. Hope you can see me. Yeah, I like the reaction of the right honorable speaker. So I'm turning it off so that I quickly do my presentation. Thank you. So with your permission, right honorable speaker, may I share my screen?
Yes, kindly proceed.
Okay.
So for announcements, if you have questions, it would give you an opportunity to ask your questions after she's done with the presentation. So kindly write your questions when you have them. Thank you.
I'm going to start right away. All right, so our topic for today, everyone, has to do with the Affirmative Action Bill. It's actually a bill or an intervention, and gender mainstreaming as strategies for development. So one will ask, how is it that all of a sudden we have something called Affirmative Action Bill and gender mainstreaming? How did they all come about? And so these two terms came about due to one phenomenon in the world, and that has to do with gender inequality. It is due to gender inequality that we have here today something called affirmative action and gender mainstreaming. So now, gender inequality. We know that gender inequality has to do with the discrimination of sexes, okay? So male, female, their roles and all, how we prioritize a particular gender over another gender and the effect it comes up with. And this gender inequality has had serious effect in our world today, not just in Ghana, not just in Africa, but the world in a whole. And it has its own way of manifestation. And it manifests itself in different forms. So in our economy and our security, our education, our health, and a lot of different aspects in our development. So with the way it manifests itself, we can say that the fewer women in our society participate or yes in decision making, and this is likely that the decisions made are working in favor for a more gender equality. So in this case, the fewer women we have in decision making are trying their possible best to come up with ways that could have them involved in so many things. That is how come you have conferences like the Beijing conference and a lot. And UN has actually taken a lot from that particular conference because it came up with the strategy, gender mainstreaming. And that is what we are going to talk about in this session. So the representation of women in the formal decision-making positions is therefore an important factor to improve certain aspects like gender equality, as well as enhancing development in our country and in the world in a whole. So yeah, affirmative action. So we are going to take the terms in the topic one after the other to address them. So when we talk about affirmative action itself is a topical issue. So it's an intervention, and this intervention is relative. So if you are at a workplace and then there's a need to address something like gender inequality, then the authorities or the institution with its heads have to come up with something called affirmative action to help address certain issues in the workplace. So we're looking at people who are disadvantaged in the workplace, so it can be anyone. So that's something that the term affirmative action is relative based on the context in which you are using it. But in the case of development, we are saying that affirmative action is a set of measures adopted by government and public and private institutions, such as political parties, educational establishments, corporations, and companies to address a history of systemic discrimination and exclusion of particular social groups, or to encourage the efforts of particular social groups in the interest of certain development goals. And certain development goals, because with the sustainable development goals, one of it is to make sure that gender equality is being achieved. And in Ghana, we are looking at achieving it, even though the process has not been easy. ever since the fight started in 1960, where the affirmative action was first introduced and was employed to have 10 people, 10 women in parliament by Nkrumah. And Rollins also did his part when it comes to the affirmative action. So, the affirmative action has to do with measures to help curb certain discriminations that are happening at our workplaces, within our political parties, within our society, and to also do away with exclusion of particular groups of people. So yeah, affirmative action is sometimes defined in relation to a particular group, as I mentioned earlier. So in the political party, you have that women want to have equal rights as men, and also there has to be an affirmative action that will get them there. Without affirmative action being agreed on, it means that women's participation in political parties and in decision making will be termed low, because they don't actually have a voice or something binding them. Also, affirmative action could also be indirect. So it could be indirect because it can come in different forms. So in the form where people can come up with programs that support the categories of strengthening their performances to also improve the access of some facilities. So for instance, in Ghana here, one or two things they are doing, or one or two things that is happening to curb gender inequality is come up with ways. So we have something like STEM to promote girls in science, technology, and math, and other fields. We have a lot of NGOs coming up with how do I call it, programs to support women. So we have Comfort, we have MasterCard, all those people coming up to help promote women. So they don't actually come out to say that, oh, we have an affirmative action law or bill, but they are doing it indirectly by coming up with ways to help curb the discrimination in the society. And yeah, when we talk about the beneficiaries of the affirmative action, it happens that those who advocate for it are people in within the elite society, and then the beneficiaries tend to be those in the middle classes. It won't get to the lower point because those in the lower points have not had access to resources, or how do I call it, resources or materials that will get them to be within the middle class to get access to all these things. But we are hoping that since it's a process, people will get to enjoy the benefits of the affirmative bill action. So yes, the affirmative action bill. So the affirmative action bill in Ghana. So as I stated earlier, the bill was employed in Ghana since independence to help address the issue of gender and regional imbalances in access to education, health, work, and what? Politics. So in 1960, there was a legislation for the Affirmative Action Act that brought, as I mentioned, 10 women to represent in the region. So that was done by Nkrumah, where he made it open, give 10 seats to women without they being, how do I call it? Without them contesting for elections. They were just picked out, like appointed to represent the region in parliament. And in that we see that ever since that time till now, it has been less effective, because we know that Ghana, for instance, or this world in a whole, is a patriarchal world, and Ghana is a patriarchal country where males are dominated. But in as much as males are dominated our homes, in our cultural backgrounds and all, in population wise, the total number of women is higher than men. So we can't actually be in Ghana where decision making, for instance, will be taken by a particular gender more than the other part. So this affirmative action, okay, comes into play to actually give access or equal opportunity for everyone, be it disadvantaged, be it women, and all, both men as well, the equal chance to add their voices to development in the country. So the process of affirmative action in Ghana started. So if I say the process, I'm talking about the bill. So after the 1960 is happening, a group came out to, how do I call it, fight for the affirmative action to actually be passed into law. So the process all started in 1998 with the introduction of the affirmative action policy guidelines to promulgate an affirmative action law without concrete results. And these people who helped form this particular group has to do with women in women's groups and then civil society organizations. So they had to come up through a coalition, and a coalition has to do with form of like an agency, but they are to fight for a particular focus. So collective and solidarity actions have since in the past pushed for the adoption of the affirmative action mechanism and placed the prime issue of parity in women's participation as a core demand in their work. So these coalitions that came up, their focus was to help increase the participation of women in decision making, and that was the core of their work. So when you check our history, you see that after more women being appointed in 1960, at least 40% of women are represented in all bodies. So when we say work, advisory boards and stuff. So we see that the Electoral Commission encouraged that all political parties must put more women in parliamentary as parliamentary candidates to help pave way for the 40% representation out of the 30% appointees to be allotted to women in district assemblies. And also, we also got the fact that if we are studying gender as a course in our universities, is due to the affirmative action, how do I call it, advocacy. That has also caused that gender courses to be introduced. And it has also increased female halls of residence in our universities. And we are having more girls studying science-related courses as well. So yeah, that is it. So one will ask that, what is Ghana's Bill of Affirmative Action? What is this affirmative action bill in Ghana, and what does it seek to achieve and its current status? So with this, the bill has in it a lot of things, and it hopes to be achieved in due time. So we are looking at an opportunity where both men and women are given equal rights in decision-making platforms at our corporate worlds, at home and all, that women also stand a chance to help in development. That is what we want to put out there. So the bill does not only focus on women, but it also focuses on, or I'll try as much as possible to share the document of the affirmative action bill currently on the platform whilst this is going on, so that you all get to read and know what the bill entails. It comes in sections and all. So the current status of the bill. So in the past, the bill has been sent to cabinet, it has gone to parliament, but it doesn't get to go through all process stages. It comes back because parliamentarians argue one or two points that must be added, some must be taken out, and then it means that the coalition has to go back to do its work and come back. So there has been a lot of back and forth. Yes, and then thanks be to God, we had the former speaker, Professor Michael Quay, mentioning that it needs to be passed during his tenure of office. And then this year, God willing, or yes, just about last week, Right Honorable Speaker Bagbin also stated that there's a need for the Affirmative Action Bill to be passed. So he mentioned that last week, that he reiterated it in Parliament. So yes, the process is still ongoing. The bill is before Cabinet, and it has been, yes, it had been read on the floor of Parliament as well. So we are praying that it goes through all the processes. Then we can have an affirmative action bill out there to support everyone. It doesn't discriminate anyone. It is an opportunity for both men and women, equality for all. So yeah, gender mainstreaming. So like I stated, gender mainstreaming is a major strategy. And this strategy is to help solve the issue of discrimination in countries and in our societies. So someone asks, what is the meaning of gender mainstreaming? So gender mainstreaming is a strategy to improve the quality of public policies, programs, and projects, ensuring a more efficient allocation of resources so that better results are increased in areas of well-being for both women and men, and the creation of more socially just and sustainable society. So yeah, it is a major strategy to help curb the issue of discrimination, because it gives way for the analyzation of gender-related issues to be included when people are making decisions in their workplaces, at their various institutions, and in the country as a whole. So ECOSOC defines gender mainstreaming as the process of assessing the implications of women and men of any planned action, including legislation, policies, or programs in all areas and all levels. It is a strategy for making women's as well as men's concern and experiences an integral dimension of the design, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of policies and programs in all political, economic, and societal spheres, so that women and men benefit equally and inequality is not perpetrated. The ultimate goal is to achieve gender equality. So this came up at the Beijing conference in 1995, yeah, if I'm to be sure of the year. Yeah, and then it was established as a major global strategy for the promotion of gender equality. So this, as I said, it was done in the Beijing conference. It was a platform for action. It needed to be taken. So so that's where UN adopted it as a major strategy to help curb the issue of discrimination in our society and in the country. So yeah, gender mainstreaming has been embraced internationally, as I said, as a strategy towards realizing gender equality. This is because it involves the integration of a gender perspective into the preparation, design, as stated in the definition, implementation, and monitoring, evaluation of policies, regulatory measures, and spending, and yeah, programs with a view of promoting equality between men and women. So this basically has to do with the fact that if gender mainstreaming is being adopted in our various countries or institutions, then it means that whatever decision will be taken in our various institutions must have the following, must have both women and men as concerns during implementation stage, during the monitoring stage, during the evaluation of policies, and then programs that will come up in our political, economic, and societal sphere. So they must take into consideration both women and men. But I'll also add that the disadvantaged in society, so I'm talking about disabled people, should also be considered in this piece. yeah, development is also a term in the topic. So the issue of development actually is very broad. So one will say, what is development? In my own view, or also the definition here is being done by the Society for International Development, and it states that it is the process that creates growth, positive change, or the addition of physical, economic, environmental, social, and demographic components. So the purpose of development is a rise in the level and quality of life of the population and the creation or expansion of local regional income and employment opportunities without damaging the resources of the environment. So development is visible and useful, not necessarily immediately. Like I stated, it is a process and it includes an aspect of quality, change, and the creation of conditions for continuation of that change. So basically, development is a process, and the process is a gradual one. It doesn't mean that when you want development done, it should be done as soon as possible. A lot of things has to go into it. There has to be the consideration stage. There has to be a plan, what it seeks to achieve, the disadvantages and advantages of it. Who are those going to be harmed? Who are those not going to be harmed? And a whole lot of things. It takes into consideration a lot of things. So we as individuals, we shouldn't expect that if someone says, I will develop this, we shouldn't expect that it be done as soon as possible, as we all know that it is a process. So I made mention that development is a whole topic because it came up with different meanings. So the definition of development is actually relative. So we have different theories of development, and that is another topic for discussion another time. So in the area of development, it suffers a lot of gaps, and one of the gaps that it suffers has to do in the area of education, the area of health, the area of how do I call it, work, and also, yes, looking at affirmative action and gender mainstreaming as strategies. They actually are strategies for development, and I'm hoping that if we are able to inculcate this at our local levels and stuff, we can start having development from the basics. Then it can be transparent at the national level or the continental level. So, yes, affirmative action and gender mainstreaming as strategies for development. They come up with strategies. So, first, the aim of both the affirmative action and gender mainstreaming is to help address the issue of discrimination. So, since it is to help with discrimination, development in our society has to benefit everybody. So we need to inculcate the affirmative action and gender mainstreaming strategies when we are trying to bring up development policies or programs in our society. Like I said, it takes into consideration those who are going to benefit the implementation stage, the evaluation stages, and all. A lot of things must be considered, and such of these things is gender. So since it is in to address the issue of discrimination, when inculcated in development, you see that development in our society will to a particular plan, because a lot of things are being taken into consideration before its implementation in our society. So yeah, it doesn't only aim to avoid the creation or reinforcement of inequalities, which can have adverse effects on both women and men. This is because if at a point, so women are fighting for equality in society, if attention is being given to women in all, very soon men will come up making demands because they'll feel that attention is being switched. Do you understand? So That is why we are saying that it should not look at a particular gender, but it should focus on both genders. So this implies that in analyzing an existing situation in a particular country or community with the purpose of identify inequalities. So you look at the gaps, as I stated, in development, and help develop policies with the aim of redressing the issue of inequalities in the society, and bring up mechanisms where it can be undone. So like they are doing currently, they're saying by Kweju Agri that says, oh no, they say that if you educate a whole nation, if you educate one person. So yeah, out of that saying, you can see that there has been a lot of development when it comes to education, health, to help curb issue of gender inequality. So schools are being put up to help inculcate women in schools. Women are no longer held in the kitchens. They are given access to education. And then when it comes to healthcare, a lot of things are being put in place to reduce mortality rates and things. When it comes to work, a lot of employment are being done, giving women chances to do that. And then when it comes to capacity building, women are being open to learn whatever thing they want to learn, with these skills and all. So in time, we are trying to create opportunities to help curb this gender inequalities in our society, and it is all because of affirmative action and gender mainstreaming. So the next point that sees the affirmative action and gender mainstreaming as strategies for development has to do with that. It promotes inclusion. It doesn't leave anyone out. So if gender mainstreaming and affirmative action are being adopted once again, it's going to promote inclusion. So in this case, it's going to give opportunity to both men and women to add their voices when it comes to decision making, when it comes to other sectors of development. So when it comes to education, so we have women taking up educational roles and other positions to do a lot of things. You are having women as board directors, you're having women in important positions that men equally also share such role. So when these are inculcated in our developmental strategies or policies, it's actually going to promote inclusion, because a lot of women, like for instance, politically, will be put out there to participate in political parties activities. So they will run not for just secretaries and women's organizers, but they will also come out to be vice presidents like Professor Jane, taking up bigger roles and not just the lesser ones. So the third point has to do with it improves development indicators. So if affirmative action and gender mainstreaming are being inculcated, as I stated, it's going to improve development indicators by reducing inequalities that facilitate the contribution of a particular social group when it comes to development. So in this case, it's going to include both men and women and the disadvantaged in developmental policies and all. So we're going to address issues relating to both the productive and distributive aspects of development. So when it comes to the production side, we are going to have people adding voices, their contributions and all. When it comes to the distributive aspect too, it won't go to one particular group of gender, it will also go to other groups of gender. So we are looking at women and other disadvantaged in the society. So with point 4, it enhances productivity, improves development outcomes. So if gender mainstreaming and affirmative action has been inculcated in our developmental policies and programs, it's going to help enhance their productivity and also improve outcomes when it comes to development, because it's going to increase and recognize the gender perspectives in different areas of development and ensure that effective achievement of goals are being made in areas of economic and social areas. This is because, how do I call it? In the area of the economy, if chances are being given or gender mainstreaming is being inculcated, it's going to, how do I call it? Recognize the dealings of or the activities of both men and women, and then won't look at just one side when it comes to those who are adding more to the economy and those who are reducing and all. It's also going to look at the outcomes at the social levels as well. So, for instance, in the news yesterday, there was a part in the Western region that the people were complaining of their roads and all. And some of the people in the city were saying that the MP there is a woman, and her name doesn't ring bell now. She comes only to share rice and oil. So those in the society are asking that she comes to do more than just what? Share rice and oil. So they want the fact that she being an MP, she is not limited because she can actually lobby for a lot of things on the floor of parliament to be done in her region, and she is not doing it. And so they are asking that she stops the sharing of rice and oil and look forward to constructing their road for them. So since she is a woman and it's part of decision making process, the people would want to see what her outcome in terms of development, like what she's doing to help promote it. And I'm sure as wherever she is, she's trying her possible best to get it done. So the fifth point has to do with it ensures and it secures human rights and social justice for women as well as men. So this has to do with the fact that when gender mainstreaming and affirmative action are being included in policies, is going to influence the participation of and then also look at the benefits of the developmental processes. So it's going to coming up to add their voices or gender mainstreaming being added in the area of development will secure human rights. So the rights of both men and women will be protected, as well as justice being given to both men and women when it comes to their participation in developmental policy making and processes. They are going to be protected because their rights will be taken into consideration, as well as their status in the society. So no one will be discriminated to say that you are a woman, so you are supposed to be here, you're a man, you're supposed to be here. Everyone will be included in it all. So the sixth point deals with the fact that it reveals a need for changes in goals, strategies, and action. So gender mainstreaming and affirmative action, when adopted, will reveal the fact that a lot of things must change. The world or the country is not for men only, but it's also for women and other minors in the society. So when it's being taken into consideration, a lot of things will change, because now if most of the things they do is going to benefit a particular group, in this case, with the consideration of men and women and others, there's going to be a lot of changes. So the benefits will not go to one particular group and it will not favor another group, but it will have everyone involved in it. And lastly, it ensures that policy making and legislative work is of higher quality and has a greater relevance in the society. So, is going to take care of both men and women. So now legislative work will have a higher quality. It won't just have a shallow or a surface, how do I call it, quality, but it will have a higher quality and will have greater relevance in the society because it's going to have on board or in concern, or is going to, how do I call it, have into consideration both men and women in the society. So if gender mainstreaming and affirmative action is being adopted as strategies when it comes to development, it's going to have a long way to affect our development in the country because looking at the sustainable development goals and having gender equality in it, if it's being achieved, then the society will be a better place. I'm not saying the society is not a better place now, but if it's being achieved with a gradual process, it will be of more. It will be a better place more because everyone will have the freedom to have to do whatever thing they would want to do. So I know I've spoken much, and I don't know how you're feeling out there, but I want to conclude by saying that both the affirmative action and gender mainstreaming in their own relevance are strategies for development. It is up to the institutions that has to do with at the national level, the government and members of member states, I mean our regions and all, to take charge of implementing as well as to ensure that they are done and done rightly. And also, it is not only the responsibility of a specific individuals working in certain areas or units, rather, specific structures should be established and persons responsible or appointed for monitoring all these things must make sure and take up the responsibility for implementing gender mainstreaming strategies as well as affirmative action strategies. Wherever they are, they should be part of the staff of public institutions at the private sectors, in our homes, wherever there's leadership, wherever there has to do with management as well. They should man up their jobs and make sure that people's human rights are being protected and justice is being given to all, and that people's statuses are also being protected. So they should fight. The fight is for all. It's not for a particular group of persons. So we are calling both men and women to come out and make sure that affirmative action and gender mainstreaming are being inculcated in the things we do. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And I'd like to say once again, thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, Mr. Speaker, please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, our guest speaker. That was a brilliant presentation done by you, and I can see a lot of females online. And I'm very sure they have questions to ask. So that was a brilliant presentation there. And the floor is accordingly open for questions. If you have a question, kindly just write briefly question in the in-call message, and I would ask you, and I'll call you to ask your question. Equally, you can just unmute yourself and just notify that you have a question, and I'll call you as well. Any question on the presentation, we can all proceed. If you are all thinking about your questions, I'll go ahead and ask mine. Madam Guest Speaker, the National Gender Policy, and then please, have you heard of the National Gender Policy before? The gender policy, if I may ask.
And I'm not so sure about that, but you can go ahead. Let's see what we can do out of it.
I wanted to hear your opinion on the gender policy and how, if it works in favor of the affirmative, and then maybe any difference of that sort.
Okay, so if I'm to be sure, the National Gender Policy was developed to help, or it was develop with a comprehensive insight into the empowerment, rights, and access to justice, leadership, and accountable governance, gender roles and relations, as well as the economic opportunities for women. So yes, it's in favor of the affirmative action because it's not only looking at one side, but the fact that it's circulating on women, the affirmative action is looking at an equal opportunity for both men and women, even though women more. So yeah, that's what I can say.
Okay, I can see Diana Balo online. She's the founder of Sisterhood Organization that has collaborated with us for us to host our third leadership, a virtual leadership seminar. And she has some of her executives here. The first lady, who is equally the president of Sisterhood Organization, is also online here. She's in the person of Kendall Elizabeth Mante, and some executives I can also see here. I think I can also see some people from the camp of the guest speaker, Princess Achampon, if I'm right. She's also there. And then we also have some leaders of Youth Impact Movement as well. Deputy Director in charge of Youth Impact Foundation, Mr. Ramoneli Kamadbo is also here. And then some of our MPs are also over here. Innocent, Dwamepo. And then, yes, I can see Yvonne, Aku Asempa, and then all of you, Obed, Cletus. Please, if you have questions, you can unmute yourself. Sharita, Adjo, I've seen you as well. If you have questions, you can unmute yourself and then ask. If you don't have, okay. Yes, Hakem as well. Hakem is a speaker of one of the SRCs of the private universities in Ghana, and he is also joining us for today. Yes, right on how Hakem, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Thank you.
Good evening, House. The name is Hakim Enyan Steve, and
Okay.
then the Speaker of Parliament for Wisconsin International University College and a law student. Mine is not a question, but a comment that the affirmative action bill and the gender mainstreaming comment that she gave in the presentation was brilliant. But when you look at the national policy guidelines for gender, as you're looking at, is something that disenfranchises or actually, let's say, lower standards. Reasons is this. One, the gender streaming is what brought into when you are going for admission into the universities, whereby women were given 18, and then let's say men are supposed to go with 12. And then let's say certain other instances where they created, even in 1960, certain seats uncontested, like it shouldn't be contested by males. When you redo that, I'm of the view that in as much as we are trying to ensure that females are going to go into, let's say, mainstream leadership, it should be such that they should be encouraged to step forward, to go for the challenge, but not making it look like serving it on a platter in a way. Because certain males would have gone to a very deprived community school, they try and get 18. A female will go to a very elite school, gets 18, but the man from the deprived community would not be given the opportunity, but the woman from a very elite community will be given the opportunity. So moving forward, that when we are all moving on this, we should try and empower our sisters to come for the challenge and then rise up to the occasion, so that it wouldn't look like things are being served on the platter, because we believe that they have very good contributions also to bring on board. That's my comment. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. Before our guest speaker gives a response, I heard the term shemale. I'm very sure Mr. Hakem was trying to mention female, because shemales are females with male genitals.
No,
So I'm
I
very
meant
sure this.
female. I meant female.
Yes, I heard
Females.
female, so I
No, no,
wanted to
no, no, no.
know
I meant female. F-E, female. I can't say
that.
she-males because she-males technically, per Criminal and Other Offences Act, it's based on natural carnal knowledge and all those things. So I can't say that. I didn't say she, I mean females. Thank you very much.
Yes, yes. One noted, just for the records. Our guest speaker, do you have any response to his commentary?
Okay, so I actually like his comments, and I want to add up to what he said. Well, you are calling that we empower our sisters. You know, this issue, I'll always say that it's being done, but until the girl child will realize that you are not limited, until you realize that every barrier or every chain that is preventing you from going out there can be broken by yourself, then you have the whole world in your hand. Actually, I'm saying this because yes, you know that I have been a former speaker before. I was actually the first female speaker for my campus parliament, and that was my first time standing for election. And imagine, right honorable speaker, you know, right honorable Derek, he was my how do I call it, my other opponent, yes, and I
Yes,
have to contest election with him. But in this case, what came to play was the fact that I worked right from level 100. He had a bit of on and offs at sittings and all. The people who had seen gave votes to who it rightfully belongs. So yes, women, you do not have to sit to be empowered. You should look at what is happening around you. If you choose to sit and fold your arms and not come out there to or and not empower yourself, then you realize that you are losing. In this case, you do not, I won't say you have the right or do not have the right to blame it on others, because you are failing to do it for yourself. So if you are able to come out there, I mean, break the barriers, because no woman will want to stand election with a man, because you know how many in some elections their voices alone can actually bring it up. But I stood for the election. I actually had to gain my ground. Honestly, there were times where I was how do I call it? I was shivering a bit, but I had my coaches telling me that, hey, you can do it, go for it. And I contested for the election. I won. I became the first female speaker. He became my deputy speaker. So yes, you can do it. Don't limit yourself. If you put fear in yourself, it means you can't get to the top. Don't, if you feel you want to help people, that is where it begins. Begin to nurture it and go out there and be great. I mean, thank you very much, Hakeem, for your comments. I think Cletus has a question.
Yes, Mr. Cletus, kindly unmute yourself and ask your question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Right Honorable Speaker. So, my question to the guest speaker is, why is it that from a confidential point of view, I want her to tell the House, why over 6 decades now? Because from her submission, it seems from 1960, where the first president, that's Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, allowed 10 women to go uncontested to Parliament. I want her to tell us, like, from a confidential point of view, why the bill has still not been passed, the Affirmative Action Bill. Yes, that's my question.
Thank you very much. Our guest speaker, you may proceed to answer.
Okay, so Cletus, if you actually listen to my presentation, I made mention that after the 1960, there has been how do I call it? Chances where the bill has been presented, but it's always sent back, because when it's being presented on the floor of Parliament, because you know that we have different, we've had different governments coming in and going out. So if it's being presented in a particular government, and then its debates are being done on the bill, and there are amendments in how do I call it? and the amendments, it is being referred back to the coalition to go and add and make corrections and bring it. And if it's being brought and it's being sent to the sector minister, so the minister in charge of gender and children's rights and all, and it's also not finding those of these things inside, it will never get to go, because when it goes there, the amendments always push it back to the stage one for it to go through another reconsideration stage. So that has been the back and forth the coalition is having. And then that's what I'm saying, that we are hoping that since it's being presented in the parliament again now, and the Right Honorable Speaker back then has reiterated that it needs to be passed, we are hoping that this particular bill presented will actually be considered and passed into law. That's what we are hoping, because that has been the hope of the coalition, because day in and day out we are having dialogues, we are training people and educating them on their need to add voices for the passage of the affirmative action. So it's not that the thing has not been passed, it's because there are certain hinges. You know, we are in a patriarchal society and the parliament is made up of more men than women. So if they pick the bill and some of the things in the bill does not favor them, they actually voice out and make debates. And then if it is considered or taken or voted for, okay, that amendments be done, it means the coalition has to go back to go and resolve those things and bring it back again. And if it comes back and the men are finding issues again, it will still go back and forth. That is the problem we are having with the passage of the affirmative action bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Curtis, do you have a follow-up?
Mr. Speaker, she did explain, but I'm still not clear. Why I said I'm still not clear is that she said there are some hinges. And from 1960 till now, it's over 6 decades. So are we saying that for over 6 decades, all those hinges have not been resolved? Even if there are men, or it's made up of a patriarchal system, does it mean that the men, because it's not only the affirmative action is together with gender mainstreaming. So to a large extent, there's men inclusion. So anyway, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, Hakem has an answer to your curiosity, so I would allow Hakem to give you an answer. Hakem, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Cletus. Ghana had not had that kind of clear, democratic, let's say, parliamentary system. Now, in 1960, the parliamentary system was suspended. 79 was suspended. We've had a couple of coup d'etats that had actually happened. You get it? So 66, 79, and then ongoing. So now, when the process is being laid, now the first parliament, when it was being overthrown by the military junta, you realize that the constitution was suspended. Parliament, businesses were suspended. Now, all the way until 1993, that we had a very new parliament, and it was relayed. Now, what we should also know is that per the processes of parliament, when something is laid on the floor of parliament, and then let's say a bill, and then the lifespan of that particular parliament ends, they don't go, a new parliament don't go and then just continue. Maybe it was at the committee stage, then just that they come and lay it, because that parliament has ended. So it has to be relayed. You understand? And again, affirmative action bill is a subsidiary legislation. What I mean is that it was coming under a legislative instrument. So in that instance, when it comes either to test, they throw it away, you go and make it and bring it back. So, for example, the one that was laid in 2000 gave certain instances that certain portfolios to be given to females, uncontested. In that instance, males would not agree. Just like as I was just saying that, let's say you have to make certain portfolios for female at all costs. So in that instance, if let's say a political party knows that they have a female at a particular place who can win, automatically that person should come and take it. In that instance, it was not fitting into the gender activities. And again, it was also looking at it being feminism. You see, that's how come they look at it. In as much as we want to make the gender very mainstream, they also don't want to just pass it so that it's going to look like it is feminism. So that is one of the reasons why it has delayed. I hope it helps in your answers.
It's in order, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you
You
very
had,
much.
I just
Yes.
wanted to say, if he had listened, I earlier stated that governments have gone, governments have come. Processes go and come. But I just want to thank Hakeem for making it clear to him. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Any further questions or contributions? We haven't heard anything from Sisterhood Ghana. I'm very sure this particular topic is well in alignment with your vision and purpose. Perhaps the president or founder could say something a little bit on this. Dinah and Kendall. Yes, or they are not. Kendall, I can see you online. Kindly unmute yourself and say something. Or if she's not, I'd like to
Thank
state
you.
that. Okay, yes, Kendall, proceed. Yes, Kendall, proceed, please. Or her network.
For the opportunity. My name is Elizabeth Mante, President for Sisterhood. I didn't want to speak on the topic, but once you have mentioned my name, maybe I should just say a few words. When it comes to the gender policy, I believe that I want to just make a comment. I believe that in as much as the gender policy is giving women the opportunity to um, come out and be better, to me, I feel the gender policy, some way, somehow, is doing us more harm than good. Why am I saying this? Women have become reluctant because they know that position A and B has been assigned for me, and therefore, with just a little effort, I would be able to achieve it. In the olden days or in time past gone, I believe that women were putting in much effort to reach a particular stage or level because they realize that if I don't push harder, if I don't do harder, I'm not going to get this. But once the gender and equality issues started coming in, you realize that majority of our women we knew were vocal, majority of our women we knew were yes, people we could look up to started coming down because they realized that there is lower there's an opportunity even if they have a lower how do I put it, they put in a lower effort like they like our my brother was saying, I've forgotten his name, the law student, where I have to go to school and then a guy gets 18, he's being discredited, but I get 18, I'm being given. Do you think that the females are going to put in a lot of effort when it comes to learning? No, because they believe that no matter what, whatever I get, I am going to be given a chance. And I believe that that's not going to allow women to be competitive enough in the society. So even though these gender issues are helping, I feel it is rather going to make women become relaxed. It is rather going to make women not push harder. And it's rather going to make us not bring out the best in ourselves because we have an alternative in everything. I think it should rather be that um, women be given the equal opportunity or fair hearing. Why am I saying this? In the olden days, it was believed that women are not supposed to go to school, and then ours was the kitchen and the household chores and housewife. But now we have been given equal opportunity to attend school. I think that is fine. Here, the woman goes to school and then she showcases what she can do. You could realize that in the class, women are topping in academics, women are topping in all aspects of life. And then that is a positive feedback. They want to do more so that society would realize that, okay, what we're thinking about women staying at home was actually wrong. If we give them an opportunity, they can equally excel like the men. But in a situation where you give them opportunity and you also give them an opportunity to relax, then I think there is some kind of conflict of interest there. They're not going to actually give out the best they can do. I believe that there are a lot of women there who can do better, but are relaxed because of the opportunities available. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kendall, President of Sisterhood Organization. Our guest speaker, any comments on her comment?
Well, I I don't know what to say about this, but yeah, I kind of side with her, Mr. Speaker. If you remember, I told you that for how do I call it, gender equality to be achieved, I prefer it has to be gender equity first before what, gender equality, where you give fairness in treatment. So you don't say a guy has this, but because a woman has 18 and it's in an elite school or comes from an elite background, then the person should go. It is not fair because the gentleman has also worked for it. So in as much as you pick the lady, you also pick the man, because who knows? What if she goes to school, but she doesn't go to do what she's being expected to do? What happens to the man? He's being left out there. Probably he has the potentials to attain more. So as I said, it's there to give us the opportunity, but some has taken it as an opportunity to actually lay back, because after all, there are positions maintained, and I'm likely to be picked in a school because I'm a lady. So let's the fight there. It's how do I call it? It's so allow me to speak. I'm allowed. I don't know if I'm allowed to in your house, but sorry, I crave your indulgence not to do that. So it's actually not easy. It's actually not easy. Thank you.
That's fine. I equally concur to equity before equality, because you all have it on record that currently the University of Ghana, the current situation over there is equity. It was not like the position was reserved for women. By chance, after Kofi Annan, Chinihezi became the new chancellor. And after the former council chairperson, the former Chief Justice, Sophia Akufo, became the new chairperson of the governing council. After Prof. Ebenezer Oduro, I'm very sure, then Prof. Nana also became the vice chancellor. And there was a female registrar before. It was not that the position was reserved for them. They proved themselves worthy, and then coincidentally, we had 4 females leading the front of the University of Ghana. So that is also in line. Now going to the example of United States of America, Congress. The Vice President, Her Excellency Kamala Harris, did not win because the position was reserved for her. She earned it and she got there. And as Vice President, she is President of the Senate. And also, Speaker Nancy Pelosi, she earned her place as Speaker, having served as Speaker before and representative of one of the district constituency of California. She had the opportunity to serve again, and coincidentally, it happened that the leaders of the 2 houses ended up becoming women. It was not that the position was reserved for them, they earned it. In Barbados, the current president is a female. In Trinidad and Tobago, they have 2 chambers. The president of the Senate is a female, and then Speaker of the House of Representatives is a female. They earned it, the position was not reserved for them. Currently in South Africa, the deputy president, which is equivalent to vice president of the Republic of Ghana, is a female. And then there came to a particular time, the chairperson of the National Council of Provinces of South Africa, and then the Speaker of the National Assembly were all female. They earned it. It was not reserved for females. It was because they earned it. And even currently, the Speaker of the National Assembly of South Africa is a female. They all earned those positions. It was not reserved for them. The only place where you can see that it's looking like it was reserved is this ministerial position for gender. Of course, you want female to champion that issue. So on that particular occasion, we can claim that it is being reserved. Even in Kenya, as of now, they have women constituencies. And also in Uganda, there are, for every constituency, there has to be a female for one. And I'm very sure the Senate of the United States of America, there are 50 states, but each state must have a female and then a male representing them. So in those particular cases, it does look like the position is being reserved for them. But some other positions, the females that are there do earn that position to be there. And as you rightly spoke, for you to become the first female speaker of your house, you earned it. And that is how it is. So indeed, I think in our panel discussion, we had a panel discussion before, of which you were also a panelist. I think when we were having a discussion, we did realize that it appears the feminine gender is not strong. Naturally, they enjoy being at the back to see the men do the job. They are more of a supportive figure, if you may classify as such. They are more of a complement. That is how the phenomenon is like. However, being a complement does not mean you cannot lead. And we must encourage female leadership. So this topic is in shape, and then we do hope that the bill will be passed as soon as possible. As the Right Honourable Speaker of the 8th Parliament, the Honourable Alban Sumana Kingsotoni has indicated that the bill be brought back again to be laid and be passed. We are hoping that before the end of the tenure of the 8th Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, the Affirmative Action Bill will be passed into law. Ladies and gentlemen, any further questions? If you have any commentary, submission, or questions, kindly indicate, or you can equally. Okay, I think Hakem has a little bit of a view on what I stated. Dana, I'll listen to you after hearing Hakem. Hakem, I didn't say that they are weak. I think the point I made was that they are more of a complement. And it looked like they are reserved and then they want to see men do the job. I'm not sure I stated categorically that they are weak, but however, go ahead with your
Okay.
take.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. You see, the female gender, I bet you, is the strongest gender you can ever have. And then as a background, as a health person and then reading the law, and I can give you a lot of instances whereby the female gender is the most strongest gender, and then we have to, push them and let them know that they have to earn it, as you said, and I agree and I concur with that. Now, a female gender, for example, let's use our main instance. When Kwame Nkrumah was contesting for presidency, when he came with CPP, it was the Makola women who supported him. Now, the female gender is a gender who can multitask. For example, in our homes, our mothers would cook, take care of babies, and then be washing at the same time. But our fathers, when you try that, either the baby is going to get hurt or the food is going to burn. You just have to choose one. The female gender is a strong gender, a complement, but rather a par with the male gender. Rather, what we have to move on is that the gender equality that they look at, you should rather look at it as gender equity and let them know that there is nothing as a female, but you rather rise to the occasion, just as our females having pressure groups and all these things here. We had a woman called Ama Benuado who was a regional minister once. And then I bet you that any person who you say you are a male, you can't contest her because she was good at what she did, because she brought herself up there. She earned it. Margaret Thatcher did that, and other people. So the female gender, in my opinion, that it is the strongest gender, multitasking and all those things. Because when per scientific analysis, the pain of labor pain is about is uncomparable, because the pain that comes with induction and all those things, bones moving for engagement and all those things to happen in labor. Research has shown that just few men could induce that. So the female gender is strong, but we should let them know that gone are the days whereby our traditional, settings made women to be like, Oba de utina jade ni ade ade. Gone are those days. This is a time that if they want their voice to be heard, they should rise to the occasion. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for your contribution on what I said. We'll now listen to the founder of Sisterhood Organization, Mr. Nabalo. Kindly unmute yourself and share with us the opinion you have on the topic that we are discussing. Yes, Dinah, you can.
Okay, good evening. Thank you very much for organizing or helping organize this with us. It has really been like impactful. We've learned a lot. My team and I are really, really grateful. My president, my self president has already said everything that I had in mind, almost everything. Um, to add to it, all I would say is we are all responsible for how best, whether it is women empowerment, the strengthening of gender policy, whichever it is that goes down well with us, we are all advocates for it. So I would appreciate it if we all take it as, or we all take it upon ourselves, no matter how little the gathering is, and preach our own way of strengthening or making sure that thing comes to play. Because we've been studying about it for long, but the bigger question is it really in practice? So if we all work towards achieving the goal, I would go for the fact that women should be competitive enough. And the gender policy is also a good thing, whereby both parties, or should I say, the affirmative gender, the affirmative action and gender mainstreaming is a good thing. Yes, the ladies should learn to be competitive. It shouldn't be like, because we are assumed to be a weak gender, we'll be giving some kind of benefit of the doubt or fair deal, while the men are giving something else. It's still making it obvious that, or they are trying to still portray that the men are doing better than us. So that's the little I have to say on the issue. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Our guest speaker, do you have any input on that?
Oh no, I actually side with all the contributions being made, and I like the fact that in as much as we are looking at one issue, we are trying to also figure out what the issue is, and hoping that those issues are being addressed in the years to come, in order for us to achieve whatever thing we want to achieve with this particular subject. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We also have our co-founder and then deputy director of Youth Impact Movement in charge of Youth Impact Foundation, Mr. Rimonelli Kamadbo, online. If you could hear from him before we commence closure of this seminar. Mr. Ali Kamadbo, let's hear from you.
Okay, good evening once again. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Uh, Good evening to everyone on the platform. Thank you, guest speaker, Ms. Christabel, for a very brilliant presentation. I actually joined midway your presentation, yeah, but I think that it was so beautiful and then educative. I would also want to um, just stand on all the existing comments that have been made. Yes, with respect to the affirmative action and gender mainstreaming as a strategy for development. Of course, we would not lose sight of the fact that women play very significant roles in our society. I think the earlier speaker before Miss Diana spoke made a very significant point that we should all take note of. That the woman is able to multitask. The woman is able to do a lot of things at the same time and do them so well. A man can try as much as possible to multitask, but would not be so much excellent as a woman would do. It's as though women are born with it. And aside the fact that women may be born with this particular trait, we should not also lose sight of the fact that women are brought up in that way. So it becomes part and parcel of them. Mind you, when you are able to practice something for 21 days repeatedly, it becomes part and parcel of you. But this is something they have been doing all their life. And so they can do it and be better at it. Now, coming to the issue of how to see women and men afar, yes, we all will not lose sight of the fact that there is a saying that one man can do, women can do better. And we all say it, and the women all also say it. But we would not also lose sight of the fact that they are quick to say ladies first. If women are also the first to say what men can do, women can do better, why should it also be that the same women would be quick to say ladies first? And so it means that in one field they are seeing themselves with the equity eye, and then in the other side they want to be addressed like equality. Do you get it? So I think that that's being said, the women need empowerment. We only can say you can do it. You have everything in you. Yes, push it, and you will get better at it. They need that encouragement. They need the coaching. And I also am of the opinion that men, as much as possible, need all these things that we are saying. If you pick 10 boys or 10 gentlemen, you would hardly get three out of them as extroverts. And even if you're able to get half of the 10 as extrovert, extreme extrovert, you may only get two who will be able to stand up for what they want and then do it at its best. And so we lose sight of the fact that men also need this encouragement and they need all the support and they need all the coaching. Men need it also as much as women, and so but we will just have to give them the benefit of the doubt and give them more, uh, yes, attention as and when they need the coaching and then the support and what have you. We can keep the gender ministry alone for uh, designated for the women because maybe most of the issues that come through those ministries are ladies oriented or women so much attached. But the view of making positions available for them only, saying that no, this position is for women, I think that it will do so much bad than good to us. So let's make it so competitive, let's make it so open, let's make it very easy, but let us start planting in the minds of our girl children at the basic level, at the level where they are taking their formative education. They should be given that education that you are not just a woman for the kitchen, you are a woman that is so much having the potential to be able to do what men also do, and you should put forth to be able to be the best at it. Are we surprised women or little girls in primary schools even top their classes? So why do we allow them to top the classes and get to the university and we say ladies first? You get it. So I think that women have all the potentials. Let's give them the little encouragement and then the little push. Let's not lose sight of the fact that men also need all these things that we may be doing to the women. And then we are sure to have a community better than we all came to meet. Thank you very much, right honorable speaker in the August House. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Are there any further comments or questions? Princess, Salom, Innocent. Do you have any commentary? Are there any further questions? In the absence of any further questions, I would like to proceed to close today's program. And we'll first start with closing remarks from our guest speaker. So, Madam Guest Speaker, the floor is yours for your closing remarks.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker in the House. Thank you, all of you, for your audience. And thank you also for the feedbacks. And once again, thank you for the opportunity. It's actually been an excellent moment for me and for all, because I didn't only come to present or make some advocacy on affirmative action and gender mainstreaming, but also I've come to also learn a lot of things based on the contributions being made by your honorable members here on this platform. And I want to say thank you, that wherever you are as a woman, do not wait for someone to come and push you. Pushing or empowerment actually begins with you and from your mind. So make up your mind to stand tall. You know, as Raymond said, that if women are doing well in their classrooms and are becoming first, why wait till at the university or something before you say ladies first? We've started already. So don't be how do I call it, downplayed or anything. As a woman, go out there, be your best, be you, and stand tall in everything that you do. Once again, thank you for the opportunity, and I hope to be on this platform once again. And to conclude, lastly, please, as we go out there, let's make noise about what we've come to learn here today, and also tell friends and friends and friends that this is it. We can all be a part of it in achieving whatever thing we want to achieve with this particular subject. Thank you, Mr. Chair and the House.
Thank you very much, our guest speaker. On a usual day, I would continue with my closing remarks. But since today's seminar is a collaboration, it would be right for us to listen to either the founder or the president of Sisterhood Organization give their closing remarks before I, on behalf of Youth Impact Parliament and Youth Impact Movement, give my and close today's seminar. So, Kendall or Dinah, any of you to give closing remarks on behalf of Sisterhood Organization, you can unmute yourself, please.
Okay, it seems my first lady is not really having stable network, so I will do that on our behalf. Um, would first of all like to thank the Almighty for a day like this, and also to thank the guest speaker, Madam Christabel, for accepting to do this with us. It's been really excellent, and we all benefited one way or the other. The message has been so clear, and we are grateful and hoping that we will have more of this, to get to know each other, to get to impart, to get to impact, and also to learn as well as we grow. And also to thank our Youth Impact Parliament for the collaboration and the opportunity to do this. We are really grateful, and to thank the Agate House for um, being with us throughout this journey. It's been an amazing one. Thank you very much, and that'll be all from our side.
Thank you very much, Sisterhood Organization. I will now proceed with the next item on our agenda, which is closing remarks by host. Honorable members, on behalf of leadership and myself, I wish to convey the sincerest gratitude of the House to our guest speaker, Ms. Christabel Naa Tsotsoo Larmie. Kindly forgive me, I'm an AWE, Program Officer of Open Foundation West Africa, for coming to Impact Us with her man's experience and lecture us on our topic for today. God bless her greatly for availing herself to impact us. And I also wish to appreciate the efforts of Sisterhood Organization, members of Youth Impact Parliament for publicizing, and any other person for publicizing today's event and participating in it. And also my colleague speakers, as the Speaker of Wisconsin SRC Parliament has also done so. And also, most especially to our graphic designer, Mr. Dollar Gladstone. He designed a beautiful poster for us. Thank you very much. For the attention of the House and our participants, I hereby indulge you all to follow Youth Impact Parliament on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and YouTube. Youth Impact Parliament is a youth organization which is a branch of Youth Impact Movement, established to create opportunity for youth to be groomed in leadership roles, public speaking, parliamentary business, social norms and values. We are still in our first parliamentary year since establishment. We held 3 pilot sittings, 7 regular sittings, and this is the 10th virtual leadership seminar we are holding since establishment. I indulge you all to follow us, and not to forget our collaborators, Sisterhood Organization. You can follow them on Facebook as well. They are into the welfare of the feminine gender, which is obvious. Youth Impact Parliament is also open for support from the general public. All those who wish to support this vision can equally support us in kind or cash. You can contact me on +233 2014 6896 and support us. As of now, our membership is valid per participation in our sittings. We have equally open nomination for application to become a youth MP in our second parliament. Our second parliament will be composed of 93 constituencies from Volta region, OT region, Eastern region, and Greater Accra regions. Hopefully, in our subsequent parliaments after the second parliament, we might expand to the entire Ghana to cover all the 275 constituencies of the Republic of Ghana. For the forms at no cost, go to our Telegram page for it or our Facebook page for the link and apply accordingly. Nomination will close on the 20th of June. Equally, Youth Impact Movement is open to anyone at any side of the nation, Africa, or Ghana. Youth Impact Movement is headed by the director, who is the founder, which is me, and assisted by 2 deputy directors who are the co-founders, one in charge of parliamentary affairs, which is Youth Impact Parliament, and one in charge of humanitarian affairs, which is Youth Impact Foundation. Sisterhood Organization was founded by Ms. Dinah Balu, who is the founder, and currently the presidentship has been headed by Ms. Kendall Elizabeth Mante. In their constitution, the president is called First Lady and has 2 deputies who are accordingly Second Lady and Third Lady, and the entire executive committee. Votes of thanks. Honorable members, at this juncture, I would like to use this opportunity to thank the Almighty God for making this program a success. My second thanks goes to our guest speaker, Ms. Christabel Naa Tsotsoo Larmie, for making time to facilitate our program and taking delight in it. Thank you, madam. I also want to use this opportunity to thank our collaborators and anyone who has directly or indirectly contributed to the success of this program in the organization of publicity. God bless you all. And my last thanks goes to all of you who have participated in the live stream. Accordingly, it will be uploaded on our YouTube channel and Facebook for future participants to participate and learn from what we have done or discussed today. God bless you all for availing yourself. God bless you abundantly. Let us take our closing prayers. Almighty God,
Okay,
we
Mr.
humbly
Speaker, sorry.
beseech you. Yes, okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
sorry, if
you
I
can
don't mention
proceed.
this before the your English teacher at Kita School, Madam Victoria Amafajido, yes, she asked that I extend her greetings to you and commend you for the great work you are doing. She asked that I mention this in the session. So I'll tell her that I did so. So she said she'll watch it afterwards. I wanted to know that I actually mentioned it. Madam Victoria Amafajido said she taught you English in Kita School or something like that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
sorry for interrupting once again. The closing
Mr.
prayer.
Speaker,
Thank you very much, madam. And thank you very much yourself.
Mr. Speaker.
We are, yes, Honorable Deputy Director of Youth Impulse Movement.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I want to also say thank you to Madam Christabel for bringing us that word. We want to let Madam who taught Mr. Speaker in Keta School that we want to tell her thank you. She did a great job, and we are not surprised at all because he's really showing exemplary leadership as a result of whatever he was taught way back in Keta School. We thank her, and then we hope to hear from her and also have her one of these days as our guest speaker. Thank you, Madam Christabel, for
Okay,
bringing us the message.
I will tell her.
Yes, just for nostalgia, I did remember that she clearly pointed out that the word is not serious, it is serious. It is not C, it is S, so it is serious. I'm very sure when she watched this video, she will equally remember. So thank you, madam. I'm grateful for your mentorship. Let us proceed to our closing prayer. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this youth impact parliament. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance to the speaker and founder of youth impact parliament. And then to our guest speaker for appearing to impact us, lead her in her future endeavors. And also we commit unto your hands our subsequent leadership seminars and programs that we would hold. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Youth Impact Parliament, Volta region, and Ghana. Amen. God bless you all. Have a good night. I'm Jones Amegashie-Viglo, Speaker of Youth Impact Parliament, founder and director of Youth Impact Movement.